Guys, how's it going? I've uncovered, it's Kay Corey, um, reporting on the bad things that the nuclear industry does and lies about, and I've uncovered some really interesting things, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to uncover this, but I don't think a lot of people know about it. I certainly didn't know about it when I lived in San Diego and when I went to LA for work and things like that. Um, if I would have known about it, I probably wouldn't have gone there. Um, but the actual first nuclear meltdown in the world's history that we know of, because they keep it so secret when things like this happen, is the nuclear meltdown at Santa Susana Lab and Simi Valley. And it was kind of like a joint um, nuclear operation between the reactor there in Simi Valley, um, NASA, and Rocketdyne. Um, Not only did they vent highly radioactive materials into the neighboring communities, they were ordered to release the radioactive gases into the air above Los Angeles and Ventura under the cover of night, and then they were sworn to secrecy. Um, there's about 15,000 pages of studies, government documents, other interviewed insiders, uncovering that for years, starting in 1959, workers at, they called it Area 4, were routinely instructed to release radioactive materials into the air above neighboring communities through the exhaust stacks of nuclear reactors, open doors, and they burned radioactive waste. I'm not laughing at this, believe me. It is a gallows laugh. They burned radioactive waste in open fire pits on the land, what I say by the land is it was about 2,800 acres of land that these facilities, the government operated with this radiation for the reactor, Rocketdyne, and NASA. Not only that, but they released chemicals that was like TCE and perchlorate into the air. But these workers would take barrels of radioactive waste to a pond called burn pits and shoot the barrels, I'm not kidding, shoot the barrels with high-powered rifles, causing explosions. The radioactive smoke from those explosions would drift into the suburbs and toward a summer camp for children. So you can see just how unconcerned the nuclear industry is, how much of a disdain and disregard for life that they have, and the fact that they could care less about any of the 8,000 species living here on the planet. Because if they can do that to their own families that were living in that area, what could they do to people they don't know, or what could they do to animals or things that they don't care about even remotely? Because they don't even remotely have a regard for their own life. What kind of disregard do they have for other life? These people, some of these people, whistleblowers, actually said nobody knows the truth of what actually happened. He said that the meltdown was verging on a major radioactive explosion. The radiation in that building got so high it went clear off the scale. But they didn't, this is the really bad part. After the meltdown, they didn't shut that thing down. They ran it for several years more. So unbelievingly, even though it was causing leukemia, all kinds of sicknesses and illnesses, and it melted down, Uh, Rocketdyne, NASA dumped toxic chemicals on top of the radioactive waste, like TCE and perchlorate, released them into the air, dumped them in the soil and into the ground and surface water from thousands of rocket tests conducted at the Santa Susana Field Lab, which was right in that same area, by NASA and Rocketdyne. Emissions associated with rocket engine testing could have been inhaled by residents of West Hills, Bell Canyon, Dayton Canyon, Simi Valley, Canoga Park, Chatsworth, Woodland Hills, and Hidden Hills. So about 30 miles outside of Los Angeles, even closer, everybody is still getting radioactive waste from that area because it's not gone. I can assure you that. They had, in 2012, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency completed a $40 million soil test of the site and found 423 hotspots. Other studies and government documents obtained by the I-Team, which I don't know what the I-Team is, show that radiation has moved off-site, of course, because the wind blows and water flows and clouds pick up moisture from the ground and rain it on other places hundreds or thousands of miles away. So spots have been found, hot spots have been found all over the place. One halfway sane person said, if the wind is blowing and carrying radiation from Santa Susana, it doesn't stop because there's a fence. No kidding. In December 1995, the Brandeis Bardin Institute filed a federal lawsuit against the present and past owners of the Santa Susana Field Lab, alleging that toxic chemicals and radiation from the field lab have subsequently seeped into and come to be located in the soil and groundwater of Brandeis and is injurious to the environment and will cause great and irreparable injury. No kidding. Brandeis settled the lawsuit in a confidential agreement in 1997. Now, of course, a PR person for that Brandeis Bardin Institute, Rabbi J. Streer, told them that the groundwater and soil is tested routinely and results have shown that the site is safe. No, there's no way it could be safe after plutonium and all of those chemicals and the radioactive isotopes from the meltdown are in that area. There's no way that it's safe. And there's no way that your drinking water around there is anywhere remotely safe. Nor is the air, nor is the groundwater, nor is the rain, nor is the food that's grown around there. Nothing is safe. Let's see. This lady said that she grew up around Canoga Park around the time of the nuclear meltdown and for years after all of battle cancer. They've all battled lymphoma, ovarian cancer, bladder cancer, a bunch of cancers. Of course, there's silence from the government, and that says it in this document. If you want to see what I'm talking about, it's called LA's Secret Meltdown, Simi Valley, California, 1959, largest nuclear incident in U.S. history. Actually, it's the first one that's recorded, but they didn't actually admit to it until like years and years and years afterwards, because that's what the government does. They don't admit to anything they do wrong. And there is no way to clean that up. You know, I keep trying to tell people that once you have a meltdown, once you have an incident like that occur, you are not going to be able to get near that area where they dumped all that stuff, where they have all that plutonium, americium, neptunium, where they've had the meltdown, you're not going to be able to get in there and clean anything up. What the hell are they going to clean up, really? What are they going to pick up? Are they going to pick up the plutonium? Where are they going to put it then after that? And all the other 2, 3, 10,000 isotopes that's made in a nuclear meltdown. Now, this particular reactor was a salt reactor. It was it was built in 1947. It was founded in 1947. But they operated it from 1950s to the 1980s. So after the nuclear meltdown, they didn't shut it down. So somebody was in there still operating that reactor, or still operating the nuclear tests that they were doing, which is completely crazy. But then again, anybody that's in that industry is completely crazy, and they're completely off their rocker. Community residents in that Santa Susana filled lab area want the people in the state legislature and state agencies that oversee toxic sites to clean up the contamination. But again, I'm telling you, there is no way that they can clean up those sites. Now, they may be able to clean up the TCE and perchlorate, but to clean up the plutonium, americium, and neptunium, and all those other radioactive elements, you can forget about it, or isotopes. They can't get near that to clean it up. There is no cleaning it up, because if they put robots in there, they're going to break down. The thing that people don't understand about nuclear energy, nuclear reactors, is they are a eugenics tool. They are designed and built to kill people. They're not designed to create electricity. It takes electricity to run those things. So it's not designed to create electricity. That would be a ridiculous thing to say. Oh yeah, we're going to build a reactor to create electricity. No, it takes electricity to run the nuclear reactor. And if the nuclear reactor is damaged, if the electricity around it is damaged in any way and can't be put back online, or they can't dump 1 million gallons of water on that reactor a minute, and those rods, fuel rods, get exposed and start to create criticality or supercriticality, and they start melting down, you got to run out of there. You got to get out of there, and you can't come back. But those residents in LA are still there, and they don't know about it. I'm here to tell you, it's about 30 miles from Los Angeles, and I was exposed when I went over there, and whoever's living over there is being exposed to. That's just one thing that I uncovered. I've uncovered many more things, but I'll be back at you, and we'll talk about those at a later date. For now, this is Kay Corey signing out. Stay away from the pro-nukers. Stay away from the crazy people, because anybody that's in nuclear anything is nuts. Have a nice day. Hugs for everybody. Peace out. Listen to Dana Durnford, nuclear proctologist, and Kevin Blanche is going through the dead tide pools in California, documenting all of those dead tide pools. Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Dana, for doing a wonderful job. Love you both.